YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom call today, Dr. Hillary Stanifer, is the superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools. Good to see you, Dr. Stanifer. How was your summer?
You too, Seth. It was a great summer. It's a fast one as always, but it was
Always.
a really nice summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, it always goes way too fast. It feels like it was just last week. We were catching up, wrapping up the 2023-24 school year, and
Yeah.
here we are in early August talking about what's to come here in the 24-25 school year. But before we get into all of that, what happened at Blue Ridge Schools this summer? Did you have much going on in your buildings?
We did have a lot going on in the buildings. In fact, the first day that the kids were out, we had roofers. Union Roofing was up on the roof of our elementary building, tearing off an old roof and getting ready to start. And today they are hopefully wrapping up both the high school and the elementary building. They can still be up there when kids are in here if we need them to be, but it would be better if they were able to finish by the first day of school. So that was our biggest project this summer.
Sure. So getting a roof project done, and so Dr. Stanifer, in a district like Blue Ridge, where money I'm sure is often tight, how did you come up with funds to pay for something like that?
Well, the roofing project was part of our health, life, safety 10-year review that we had, and it was one of the things that needed to be done right away. We had quite a few leaks, and so we issued some HLS bonds recently, also right about the turn of when 23 turned into 24, right about that time in the calendar year. We also did some working cash bonds at the same time. We are the recipients of, I know it's a lot of political talk right now about the wind farms, but we have since we're in McLean County, partially, we have some revenue coming in from the Sapphire Sky project that's already up and running. And so with that extra revenue that's going to come in this fiscal year, the taxpayers actually saw a decrease in our tax rate, even though we issued just over $6 million between HLS and working cash bonds.
Now, will you benefit from that wind farm that's coming in northern Piatt County?
Well, that's the next one that's coming. Personally, it's right outside of my house, so I get to watch the progress every day when I leave for work or come home. Those opinions will stay inside my brain for right now. But in terms of the school, yes, if they are operational by the beginning, like January of 2025, then that income in terms of equalized assessed valuation will come into the district's budget for the FY27 or the 26-27 school year.
Okay.
So that's still a couple years away.
Gotcha. Very good. So in the meantime, the roof gets fixed. How big of an improvement, and what does that mean for the district?
Well, hopefully it means a lot less leaks and a lot less of our maintenance workers running every time it rains. We have some situations where when it's raining outside, it's also raining inside, and we hope to eliminate those situations.
Gosh, what a terrible situation to find yourself in. Goodness gracious. Well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Stanifer, anything else at Blue Ridge Schools over the summer? I mean, it doesn't have to be big and grand like a new roof, but even those smaller things, they make a difference. What else kind of went down at in the district buildings this summer?
Yeah, so not exactly summertime, but right before summer, we had the finalization of our big and small chiller replacement at the high school. People were very thankful it was operational by graduation time, as was I. We also had uncovered some asbestos in the storage area below our older gym at the high school, and that abatement process happened over the summertime as well. And we are doing some secure entry work, a little bit at each of our 3 buildings, but the biggest project is at our unit office entry, which is on the north side of our high school. So the majority of that will be completed before the school year begins, but the unit office entry was a little bit more intricate, and that will probably be a little bit closer to early fall when that's complete.
Very good. So a lot happening over the summer in Blue Ridge Schools. Anything else to make note of, Dr. Stanifer, before we move along this morning?
We are going to do an earlier start than anticipated for our 8-lane all-weather track. We're going to break ground probably in November. And even before that, our concession stand is going to be remodeled and an addition built on that's bigger than what's existing right there. So we're ready for our track. That will start, the new addition will start probably in a month or two. We're doing the accepting bids today. I believe that's our meeting today. Yes, this afternoon. And then when football season is done, hopefully that'll take us well into the fall, then we'll do the remodel of the current place as well. But we'll still have a concession stand up and running until till football's done.
So starting your track project in November to me says, gosh, that may get not delayed, but they just may have some trouble with all the weather that November, December, and beyond can offer. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it sounds a little bit weird to start back then, but you have to realize that Blue Ridge doesn't currently have a track right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when a company comes in, we're using Burn & Jones, they would like to do us first in their lineup because they'll be getting to refurbishing other tracks in the summertime. But what's going to happen for us is they'll do some of the groundwork, the leveling of things, and do some of the infrastructure portions.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll sit tight for a couple months in the wintertime when the weather is bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then when things warm up enough and they can actually start installing the track, that'll be closer probably to April, May. And they're hoping to be done with us by May so they can get to their next project in June.
Gotcha. Very good. Well, again, anything else on the facilities front to put out there for us today, Dr. Stanifer?
I think that covers quite a bit. It'll keep us busy for sure.
No question. Dr. Hillary Stanifer is the superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools with us here on the Zoom call this morning. And Dr. Stanifer, I know that you've brought along a special guest with you today. Introduce us to Mr. Kirkton here.
Mr. Jim Kirkton is the new assistant principal at Blue Ridge High School, coming to us from Hayworth. So Lisa Taylor was very kind to share with us Jim that she had in her district. And I'll let him introduce himself a little bit more, but we're very excited to have Jim on board, and he has hit the ground running.
Sure. Well, Mr. Kirkton, first of all, welcome. Thanks for making time for us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I appreciate the invite. I'm excited to be here. So originally, I was from the south side of Chicago and went to ISU and fell in love with Central Illinois. So I cut my teeth teaching high school English and did that for 12 years or so, and then had the opportunity to move into administration, and I found a home here at Blue Ridge High School. I'm extremely excited to start the year off and start some new challenges.
What made you fall in love with Central Illinois, Mr. Kirkstead?
Well, I honestly think it's just a little bit more room to spread out. It's a little slower pace, and you know, the time that I spent in Bloomington Normal, I made a lot of friends, and it's just beautiful. So I loved it and never left.
Sure. Have you always been drawn to administration? Is this a position you have envisioned yourself being in?
Well, I got into teaching for the goal of, you know, having some positive impact on students' lives.
Mm-hmm.
And as I grew as a teacher, I wanted to kind of expand that a little further. I wanted to have a little bit larger impact. So the way you do that is you move into a different role where I can oversee and help staff, you know, get to that vision as well.
Mm-hmm. Who has been instrumental in that kind of journey for you?
It's been a great mix. I was very lucky in my teaching career to have some very strong administrators. I know Dr. Stanifer already mentioned Dr. Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
She's the superintendent of Hayworth High School, Hayworth Community School District, as well as the building principal, April Hicklin.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of, you know, really pushed me further as a teacher. And now being here at Farmer City in Blue Ridge, to work with Dr. Stanifer and to work with Mr. Brian Easter as a building principal, I'm very excited because they're going to continue that push for me.
Sure. Well, speak to just kind of the excitement of getting back to school. First of all, when do kids come back there in Blue Ridge?
So adults come back on the 12th and 13th of August,
Okay.
and students start on the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to add in a little plug for myself here, Seth.
Okay.
August 14th is my birthday, so the kids are coming back so they can celebrate my birthday with me. And I finish off the evening in full educator style by having a board meeting also on that same day.
Gosh, that's the worst. A board meeting on your birthday? Good grief. Oh, that sounds...
Who's in charge of that calendar?
Yeah. Hold on. No, stop it. You're in charge of that calendar. You can tell it, no. We'll do this the 21st. We'll do it some other time. You could have easily done that, Dr. Stanifer. Good grief. Well, anyways, so 14th kids come back, and Mr. Kirkson, tell us just a little bit kind of your I don't know, just what you have planned for the kids as they get back into the school building.
Well, I hope to start making those connections and develop those relationships right off the bat. I find the best way to do that is to get involved and to, see where students are, and whether that's at athletics or activities. But I'll be going in and popping into club meetings and classrooms and kind of making me a little bit less of a new face in a building.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to like that principal assistant principal dynamic, what is your role in terms of just getting to know students and your involvement with them? Do you mind speaking to that a little bit?
Yeah. So working with Mr. Easter, we've developed a really nice partnership where we've kind of outlined some specifics that we're going to work together on. And that includes student like connection and interaction, as well as student discipline. We're going to be splitting a little bit of our teacher evaluation and our workload. That way we can have more time to continue to try those interventions with students and make sure that they're supported throughout the day.
Sure. Dr. Stanifer, was there anything you wanted Mr. Kirkton to speak to this morning that I haven't touched on with him yet?
Not necessarily for him to speak to, but I will speak to, sometimes you see a leader when they're in the classroom, and you can just see that they would make a great administrator. And I think, he mentioned those names of his Hayworth folks that kind of pushed him into going into the Type 75 direction. I find that to be very true. And I have done the same for multiple staff members here at Blue Ridge. When you see them in the classroom and you see them wanting to lead the charge with new initiatives, having a positive mindset, having what I call a completion factor, where you don't just talk about an idea, but you actually take the steps, notify the people who need to know, clear communication all the way through the process, and then tell people what's been done. That's the kind of person that I'm looking for to be an administrator. And I can tell that Jim has been trained well, and I look forward to finding yet new teachers that are in the district now that we can kind of push in that direction, because we need to continue to feed that pipeline for educational administrators.
Mr. Kirkton, did I not get to anything you wanted to talk about with us today, or anything on your mind this morning?
I'm just excited, like I said, for the start of the school year, and I appreciate the opportunity. But again, as I say with all the students and all the parents, if you have any questions, you know where to reach me. So if things come up and you want any follow-ups, you can find my email, best way to contact me.
Sure. You mentioned you grew up on the south side of Chicago. You don't happen to be a White Sox fan, do you?
No. I am a Cubs fan. But my wife is a Sox fan, so we're a house divided.
Well, it's a miserable Sox fan right now, I bet. So.
Yes. Yeah, I try not to remind her of that.
Very good. Hey, Mr. Kirkton, thanks for jumping on the Zoom call with us today. It was good to meet you, and hopefully our paths cross down the road. Thanks for doing this with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite.
For sure. We'll let you go, and we'll take a break here and come back and talk more with Dr. Hillary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools. Again, Mr. Jim Kirkton is the Assistant Principal of Blue Ridge High School, kind enough to join us on the Zoom call today. More to come with Dr. Stanifer on the morning show. WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. We start the day in the red across the board with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. September corn, $3.88 1/4, down 2.5. December corn down 2 1/4, $4.04 3/4. March corn, $4.21 1/2, down 2 3/4. September beans starting the day 10.21, down 10 1/2. November beans down 10 1/4, 10.30 1/2. January beans 10.47, down to dime. September wheat 5.34, down 5 1/2. December wheat down to nickel, 5.58 1/4. March wheat 5.79 1/2. That's down 5 1/4. August bean meal 361.90, up $1.20. August bean oil 40.08. Down 96 cents. Opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Here's how Clinton Save-A-Lot store owner Dave Jackson is fighting inflation 2024.
I'm one of the only Save-A-Lots in the country that has stayed true to form. We are an everyday low-price retailer. Hard discount. We do not run ads. There's no gimmicks, no games, no drawings. I mean, it's just the truth. And when you come in my store, it's even keel. You just know the prices are fair. Am I the lowest on every item? Absolutely not. But we're very low and we're very fair.
As Dave always says,
Hope to see you soon.
Warner Hospital and Health Services expanded emergency room means big hospital tech, small hospital caring. When you need ER care, make it Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Find out how their expanded ER can help you by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Ramey Miller from Run Deep Coaching. Take your power back. I do holistic personal and business coaching. My service is virtual, so we can visit no matter where you are. Find out more by clicking my icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. That's DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the Zoom call today, Dr. Hillary Stanifer, is the superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools. And Dr. Stanifer, you mentioned kids come back to school on August the 14th. So tell us just kind of about what the plan is leading up to August 14th. What are you, your staff, what are y'all doing getting ready for the new school year right now?
Yeah, it's amazing all the things that we do to get adults ready and get students ready. Last week we had some high schoolers coming in for summer school for math, and we also had summer enrichment for our K through 6 program, our K through 6 kiddos. And we did a combination. We called it summer enrichment this year because we invited 4-H came in and did some work with our kids, some activities with them, and we also had the Bloomington Children's Museum come in. So it was really neat to see our kids are working on some of their fundamentals through a program called iReady, but then they had a really fun second half of the day each day. So we were pleased with that. We had breakfast served for all of our kids, and anybody who was not at summer enrichment could come get a meal too. So that was very nice. We saw a lot of friendly faces coming in. And let's see what else. We have a bridge program coming up for several of our students coming from 8th grade to 9th grade that might need a little extra support through their transition. So that's coming up. Yesterday was induction day for about 18 new staff members. So they had a day filled with, we call it their fire hose day, where they're just getting a lot of information about safety and technology and, who do you call for this and who do you call for that? And we brought their mentors in. They're all paired up with a mentor who's been here for a while. So we had a nice meal together at lunchtime. And then our district leadership team meets this afternoon, and it just seems like one event after the next. We are working it every single day until we officially start with adults on the 12th.
Now, is August, and you're the first superintendent I've had on the show since we, kind of resumed these getting back to the school year. Is August 14th a pretty standard back to school day for most area districts?
Yeah, we're all pretty early this year,
Okay.
and I'll just remind you that Blue Ridge works with Bloomington Area Career Center, so we really follow what their schedule is in terms of spring break, and then also usually for the starting day too. So that way there's not too many days that are different that our kids would lose out on instruction because of that.
Gotcha, yeah. I was trying to rack my brain on when our kids go back, and I don't know why. I thought it was the 21st. I thought I heard my oldest tell my mom that it was the third Wednesday of the month they went back, but maybe we do go back the 14th. I don't even know.
I think you're correct. I think for you it is the 21st. You
Oh.
might be one of the fewer ones that are in that week.
Okay,
So,
gotcha. Well,
I would
very
expect that next year we roll back a year. We've gotten quite early now.
Yeah, sure. Well, and this is your last year, correct, Dr. Stanifer? This will be your last first day of school.
It will be. Good memory, Seth.
Yeah.
It will be.
You excited about that?
Yes and no. I want to make sure that I'm giving it my best all the way through the year. There's a lot of things, like we just had an admin retreat. We were off campus for a day. We meet outside and work really hard on setting a vision for the year. And to think that was my last attempt at getting a great start, it was kind of a strange feeling, to be honest. But I'm not tired of the job. but my brain and my memory are getting a little tired.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully you have a good last first day of school there in Blue Ridge. And so let's talk a little bit about the upcoming school year. Anything new, whether it's curriculum, initiatives, improvements to the building that students are going to notice? What comes to mind as you think about whatever's new in this upcoming year, Dr. Stanifer?
Yeah. What's new in this year? We have a new science curriculum that we're going to be using from our junior high up through our high school, Savas, and we're excited about that. Our teachers met over the summertime to work on aligning that vertically. We have a literacy committee that's been formed to kind of look at what the state has proposed. A literacy plan should look like to evaluate if our materials line up with that, and if not, what do we do about it? So those are new initiatives that are going on. And I would say probably our biggest initiative that weighs very heavily on me is we've changed our safety app to Crisis Go. We're using the I love you guys language with that. And so that's just a matter of training often and training well. So when we have our opening institute meeting on the 13th, we're literally going to set off drills and practice listening to that on our phones and figuring out how to respond. We'll do that multiple times that morning, and then in each building we'll do that more in the afternoon, and later during the school week we'll do more practice. So those are some of our bigger things, and we're also working on our behavioral tier 2 and tier 3 responses as well. So we got a lot of let's just be better at what we do going on this year with a couple new tweaks.
Tell me about the new science curriculum. What's different about it?
What's different about it, it's going to be aligned from 7th grade through 12th grade. We haven't had that before, and it's really supporting our teachers and being able to deliver the next gen science standards, which are quite complex. We want to make sure that we're providing for our kids opportunities to really experience science in a way instead of just, unfortunately, previously, a lot of it was reading in a textbook and not really hands-on a lot. We have a brand new science teacher at the high school that's going to be working with Colin Skurlock, our current science teacher, and they are going to be a whiz-bang team, I'll tell you. That STEM club is just going to grow exponentially under their leadership, I'm sure.
Sure, very good. Well, Dr. Stanifer, it'll be here before we know it, August 14th, right around the corner. Actually, that's a week from tomorrow. I can't believe it. Holy cow. Yeah, very good. Well, Dr. Stanifer, where do folks go to learn about all things Blue Ridge Schools and get details on the new school year that is to come? Where do they find all that?
BlueRidge18.org, and you can find us on Facebook. We'll have everything out there that you need, so please take a look.
Well, Dr. Stanifer, thanks for doing this, and I guess welcome back to school, and we will catch up with you throughout the year. Thanks once again for coming on with us today.
Sounds great. Thank you, Seth.
That is Dr. Hillary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, our guest on the Zoom call. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way.